Ram. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams. Thank you for joining in for our Ramayana study session. We'll quickly start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees and advance. Thank you for joining in for our Ramayana study. The last time we were reading Ramayana, we were seeing how Dasharatha, the father of Lord Ram, right? Although staying in a very opulent kingdom like Ayodhya, where there are where it is very nicely managed by Dasharath Maharaj himself, but yet Dasharath Maharaj is having some kind of a longing in his heart. He is not feeling very happy, right? And at the same time, we also see that Vasishta Muni is arriving at that particular place. We're discussing about Vyasadev's pastime, where he's written the Vedas, he's divided the Vedas, he's written the Mahabharata, yet he's dissatisfied. And at that time, Narada Muni arrives. So we always are sheltered if we've taken shelter of a spiritual master, because doubts and uncertainties are part of this material life, right? So the only resort or the only person to whom a devotee takes shelter of is one's own spiritual master, right? Whether one's Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, whether one's Siksha Guru, there can be so many. Siksha Gurus who help us, who instruct us in various situations, because they themselves have gone through the situations in their life, and they teach by their own experience how it is possible to practice devotional service in all circumstances. And if possible, even from our Diksha Guru, right? If we have the opportunity, we can always take instructions even from our Diksha Guru, like that. So in various ways, we can take shelter of our gurus, and simply by taking shelter of our gurus, we'll be able to attain, we'll become free from the miserable condition or the doubtful condition. Just give me 1 second. Hare Krishna, then Pranam. Hare Krishna. Sorry for the interruption. So we were just discussing about how whether it is Vyasadeva, the literal incarnation of the Lord, or whether it is any one of us who are having a dilemma in life, having a doubtful situation, having difficulty in making decisions, right? We always have the guidance of our gurus, right? By taking shelter of a guru, we learn from their experience, we learn from their advice, and we can come out of those difficult situations, right? But if we think that I'll be able to manage all my situations, I know how to make my decisions, then we have to we make mistakes and we learn, we fall, right? But the association of devotees, the guidance from our gurus, right? They help us they help us by teaching us, by which we don't have to experience and learn the hard way, right? So that's why we know that if we have any doubts or we don't know what to do, we're not able to make any decisions. It is always best to take guidance from our Siksha Gurus, our guidance from our Diksha Guru also. If you get an opportunity, we should, in fact, always discuss or take permission before we do very important things, right? But in ordinary no course of things, when we are doing, we should take guidance from our Siksha Gurus, like that. So when we take guidance, we can be rest assured that it's not that things will flow meticulously. They are all our problems will be mitigated. No, but we know that we are sheltered by such senior devotees, and by their prayers and blessings, things will get on track, get back on track as soon as possible in that. So here we see that Dasharath Maharaj, who's a father of Lord Ram, he himself is in a dilemma, right? Something is, in spite of all the opulence, in spite of all the happiness around, everything is working well, but still Dasharath Maharaj is having uh, some kind of dissatisfaction in his heart, some kind of longing. And now Vasishta Muni is arriving there. So let's see what is the conversation that happens between Dasharath Maharaj and Vasishta Muni. Okay, let me share my screen. Devotee should like to read. Can raise your hand. Yeah, I hope devotees are able to see my screen. Yeah, so Vasishta Muni is arriving, and Dasharath Maharaj is going to welcome Vasishta Muni, and he is joined by his chief ministers. That's where we are starting. Yes, Karpavali Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Mother. Thank you, Motherji. Am I audible,
Hare Krishna.
Motherji?
Yes, yes.
Am I yes, Motherji. And near to the hall, he was joined by his chief ministers. All of them were heroes who had been tried in battle, and all were learned and wise. The state ran smoothly under their expert administration. There were no citizens without employment and no criminals left unchecked. The ministers were devoted to Dasrada's service, and as they walked, they considered the problem facing the king. Flanked by his bodyguards and ministers, Prasada entered his great hall. He vied his splendor with the assembly hall of Indra, the king of gods. Massive marble pillars rose up to the roof, which seemed to reach the sky. Balconies of alabaster and coral worked with gold filigree while gradually appeared all round the hall. Along the balconies were gold seats filled with white cushions, large silk tapestries depicting the pastimes of the god hung from the walls, which were lined with lazuli and encrusted with jewels. The air was filled with the scent of incense. In the center of the hall sat numerous priests who continuously chanted prayers from the ancient scriptures, invoking the presence of deities. The great mega drum resounded deeply as the Soda strode towards the sea. Everyone stood, and there was a cry of victory. All glories to Emperor Dasrada. The king appeared like a god,
God.
God took his seat on a large throne of refined gold bedecked with brilliant celestial gems. A hush descended on the assembly as Dasrada prepared to speak. Everyone sat in expectation. The citizens knew of the king's worry. They loved him like the father and shared his anxiety. They were grouped in the hall according to their class. At the front were the Brahmins wearing simple clothes and holding their water pots and prayer beads. On one side sat the warriors, their powerful bodies clad with the gold ornaments, with long swords hanging from their belts. Near to them were the great people in their colorful dress, and behind them were the servants and workers, also beautifully adorned. All social classes were represented in that assembly. Dasarada
Thank
looked
you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Very good.
Mataji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So we see here Dasharath Maharaj is surrounded with opulence, right? The warriors are there on one side. Then, those with colorful dresses, the Vaishyas, all of them are, who have the position in that particular palace of Dasharath Maharaj are all seated. They're all happy, but yet there is some kind of unhappiness, dishappiness, or some kind of longing that is there in Dasharatha's mind, which is percolating the entire atmosphere. So nobody is actually being nobody is actually happy, so to say, right? Otherwise, see, sometimes we also feel that everything is going great, lot of money, lot of wealth, good friends, children are going to school very nicely, everything is good, but somewhere that inner heart fulfillment is not there, something is amiss, right? So maybe our sadhana is not going well, maybe we are not hearing Bhagavad Gita with the right attitude, maybe we've committed Vaishnava aparat, whatever may be the reason, but we are not satisfied. Our heart is not content. Everything outside seems to be going on well, right? But somewhere, something is wrong, and if that is the situation in the heart, then irrespective of any of the external conditions, right, it does not seem that everything is going well, right? It is not about the money or the friends or the relationship or the job or the career or the progress that actually determines happiness, right? Happiness is the satisfaction of the heart, right? The satisfaction of the soul. Yayatma suprasidati savipumsam parodharmo yado bhaktiradoksaje aituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So that unconditional, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the guidance of our gurus can only give satisfaction in the heart, right? Irrespective of the external conditions. Sometimes we have everything, all the externals, but some or the other, there is no satisfaction, there is no peace, there is no bliss in the heart, and we need to introspect. We need to introspect where we are going wrong. Am I taking shelter of my gurus? Am I doing my ABCD square formula properly? Or is my material and spiritual life, is my personal and professional life properly balanced? Am I giving proper time? That they say that, right? Health, spiritual life, personal life, and professional life, everything has to be balanced. Only then everything can happen properly, right? So we take guidance from our senior devotees, from our association of devotees, and then we try to set our life in balance, so that our life is not lopsided, right? Sometimes we have all the wealth and the money, but our spiritual life is not going properly. Sometimes our spiritual life is going properly, but there are a lot of other issues because our life is not balanced. And then we need to take guidance from our senior devotees to put it into proper balance, right? To put our life into proper balance. So in this way, the association of devotees, guidance from our senior devotees are so much useful in our life, right? Otherwise we think that, okay, I'm extremely I'm good in my sadhana, I'm doing my chanting at the Brahma Muhurta time, I'm hearing 1 hour Bhagavatam. It does not happen like that. Why? Because it is not a mechanical process. Spiritual life is not mechanical. It's not a tick mark exercise that I'm doing this 1 2 3 4 5 and then everything has to happen, right? Because we are trying to cultivate our love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because of our conditioning, we want to do certain things in a certain way, but that is not helping us, right? So somewhere we are going wrong, right? And that's what it is. Dasharath Maharaj is ruling the citizens very well. The citizens are all very happy with the rule of Dasharath Maharaj. Everything is going on fine, but then, somewhere something is wrong. And that's what, when Dasharath Maharaj is about to speak, all the people around him, whether it is the warriors or it is the Vaishyas and the other citizens of the kingdom who are there, they're all eagerly waiting. What is troubling Dasharath Maharaj? Because if something is troubling the king, or if something is troubling the head of the family, then everything else will actually go for a toss, right? Why? Because the entire family is disturbed, right? So we need to set right the mood and the ambience of all of the in the kingdom parlance. It is a it's a bigger equation, right? The king has to take care of everybody, and especially a wonderful ruler like Dasharath Maharaj. We all know what is coming about, right? That he is not having sons. He wants, because he's completely not self-centered. He wants, the administration that is going on so nicely. Dasharath Maharaj is wondering, I'm getting old, and then who is going to look after the kingdom after me, right? So there is not even a tinge of selfishness, isn't it? But then still Dasharath Maharaj is feeling that kind of anxiety because he's worried about his duties, right? As a king, what will happen after me? Who will take care of this kingdom after me? This kingdom has to continue to prosper, and all the citizens have to be well taken care of, right? And I'm growing old. What is going to happen next, isn't it? So in that way, the king of the time, Dasharath Maharaj, is also feeling that anxiety, and he's going to ask that to Vasishta Muni, and everybody is looking forward to what Dasharath Maharaj is going to speak to the sage. All right, let's move ahead. What is Dasharath Maharaj going to speak? Okay, anyone else wants to read can raise your hand. Okay, let me continue reading. Anyone else wants to read can do so. Dasharatha looked around the hall, smiling affectionately at everyone. Although the king was preoccupied with his worry, No one could detect in him any negligence or laxity in his duties. Seeing him smiling at them, the people felt reassured that Dasharatha would find a solution to his problem. They sat awaiting his speech. So everybody knew that Dasharatha was a king who would definitely get his problem solved because he's a Raja Rishi. He is under the guidance of a bona fide sage. So definitely whatever problems may come, he will definitely seek guidance and those problems will definitely go away like that. Okay, Anusha Mataji and then Deval Mataji and then Rajnish Prabhu. All right, go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dhamma Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Placing his hand on his golden scepter, the king turned to his chief priest Vashishta, who sat on a raised seat near the throne. With a powerful voice that boomed around the hall, Dasharatha addressed the priest. I have called this assembly to settle a great worry of mine. As you know, this wide earth has for a long time been held under the sway of victorious kings in my line. O jewel among the sages, is that glorious history about to end? What can I do to ensure that our proud lineage will continue? Dasharatha was perturbed that he had no son. Having ruled as the undisputed emperor of earth for thousands of years, his retirement was now approaching, but there was no one to succeed him. Somehow, none of his wives had given birth to a son. The king had called for a full assembly to propose an idea he was considering. He needed the approval of the Brahmins and he wanted the consent of his people. Dasharatha looked anxiously at Vashishta, who was both his priest and preceptor. O learned one, you know well the perils that attended a kingdom bereft of a monarch. How can I retire to the forest, leaving this world without a protector? Vashishta sat surrounded by many other Brahmin sages. His hand rested upon his staff as he listened to Dasharatha. The sun shone through the carved lattice windows of the hall, covering the king with golden light. Vashishta, shining with his own mystic power, appeared like a second sun as he replied to the king. O Emperor, I have no doubt that you will soon be blessed with a powerful son who can succeed you. Not long ago, I heard this told by Sanat Kumar, the immortal sage who roams the universe. A divine arrangement is being worked by the gods for your everlasting benefit. Vashishta lived in a hermitage outside the city. He was frequently visited by wandering sages and mystics. Some days previously, the famous seer Sanat Kumar, who always appeared like a young boy, had spoken with Vashishta. He told him that soon four powerful sons would be born to the emperor. These sons would be divine incarnations appearing to fulfill the purpose of the gods. Vashishta continued, the Brahmins have all been praying to the Lord for your sake, O monarch. We have seen auspicious signs in the heavens. It is clear that some great plan of the will be achieved. Supreme will be achieved through you. The king felt joy to hear his priest's words. Like his forebears before him, Dasharatha had religiously pursued his duties as emperor. Under his benevolent rule, the world enjoyed prosperity and peace. The king desired not only the immediate material enjoyment of his people, but their spiritual well being as well. He kept everyone on the path of piety and truth, leading them towards freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Seeing all the people as his own children, he was concerned that their happiness would continue after his retirement. He spoke again. I have been considering the performance of a horse sacrifice for the pleasure of gods and Vishnu. O noble sages, will this be successful? Can I satisfy the Lord in this way and thereby attain my desired end? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Then pranam. So this is very wonderful, right? 2, 3 very important things here, right? What is that? The first point is Dasharath Maharaj, he surrenders to Vasishtha Muni, right? He's saying, what will happen? Will this good rule continue? And then immediately, by taking shelter at the lotus feet of his spiritual master, he's immediately cured of the dilemma, right? That you will get, in fact, not one, but you will get 4 sons, right? And secondly, the Dasharatha is not selfish, right? It's not like he is worried about the people's well-being, right? Janasya mohasya aham mameti. So this aham mameti, I, mine, it not is family, myself, my family, my society. It extends up to the my country, my society, everything, right? My society, my community, my country, etc., right? And that is not desirable as long as the king only considers the material welfare of the people. That's why Prabhupada, I'm sorry, Krishna Dharma Prabhu, who's written this section of the Ramayana, who's a disciple of Prabhupada, has very beautifully mentioned here. What has he mentioned here? Dasharath Maharaj was not simply concerned about the material welfare of the people, who will rule the people, who will protect them, from if there are thieves or dacoits and all that, right? Of course, that was his duty, that was his swadharma, to protect Kshatriya, Trayati iti Kshatriya, right? That means it is his duty to protect the citizens. But that was not the only concern of Dasharath Maharaj. He was also concerned about their spiritual well-being, right? He kept everyone on the path of piety, truth, right? These are all qualities that are very essential for one to practice spiritual life, right? So even after his term ends, right, he wanted to ensure that the citizens are well taken care of at a material level, at a spiritual level also. So he wants to perform a yajna. And what does he say? Will it please Lord Vishnu? Yajnatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. And what is a yajna? Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhradam sarvabhutanam nyato mam shanti prichati. So who is the bhokta or the enjoyer of all the sacrifices? It is Lord Vishnu. It is Lord Sri Krishna. So when Dasharath Maharaj wanted to perform this horse sacrifice, right, what did he do? He immediately first inquired from his spiritual master, will it please Lord Vishnu? Right? Because unless something pleases Lord Vishnu, it becomes Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Right? What is that? Na utpadayed yadiratim Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Na utpadayed yadiratim. That means when we perform an activity for the pleasure of the Lord, we will naturally develop a love for the Lord. Right? Generally, what is it? Whomever we love, we work for their pleasure, isn't it? Whether it is our husband or wife or children or parents or grandparents or our close friends or relatives, whomever we like, we go that extra mile. We do sacrifice certain things, right, for them, so that they are happy. They are feeling happy, isn't it? So we do go that extra mile to help those who are very dear to us, right? But unfortunately, what has happened? The greatest person with whom we have an eternal relation, life after life after life, unfortunately, we've forgotten that person. Unfortunately, we've forgotten our love for that person. Otherwise, we'll perform everything for his pleasure. And by serving and satisfying and pleasing Krishna, all of our relatives and friends and family and everybody will be satisfied. But what are we doing? We are trying to water the bud of the plant, the fruit of the plant, the flower of the plant. Unfortunately, we've forgotten to water the root of the plant, the root of the tree. Then what happens, right? We are doing a lot of efforts to please X, Y, Z, right? Who may be our close relatives, friends, family, right? But in our endeavor to do that, we have forgotten the root. That means we've forgotten to actually serve, satisfy, and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? And that is why we are frustrated in our attempt to please all of the family. We can never please. In case one gets pleased, other will get angry. One daughter gets pleased, another daughter gets angry. Husband gets pleased, wife gets, mother gets angry. Wife gets pleased, mother gets angry. Whatever may be the scene, in each house there is a separate issues. There are separate issues. If there is a house where there is no issue, then that means Krishna is in the center of that home. And even then, in this material world, it is not possible, right? Because this is Dukhalayam. Dukha will come, and the testing phase is always there. That is the role of Maya Devi, right? Maya Devi will continue to test, especially devotees. Right? If somebody is very, very surrendered, then there is especially greater tests to check out what is the advancement of the devotee, right? Because the Lord personally takes charge of the life of a devotee who is completely surrendered. And maybe there are some tests in the life of the devotee by which the Lord wants to glorify the devotee. The Lord wants to bring forth the glory of the particular devotee, right? So whether one is a sadhaka bhakta or one is a pure devotee of the Lord, in this material world, problems are bound to come. Right? And at that time, if you are surrendering to the Lord, are we trying to serve the Lord and satisfy the Lord while doing what is necessary for us in this material world? Then we will be able to grow through those problems, grow through those issues. At the same time, be surrendered under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is where we pass the test. If we pass the test, we'll get higher tests. Right? But at the same time, every test we pass, we will please the Lord. We will please our gurus. And that is going to give us more strength to continue with the practice of devotional service. So here, Dasharath Maharaj is sad, and he's not able to understand. Now that he understood, okay, that I'm going to get 4 sons, then he's not like becoming happy and okay, now let's time for enjoyment, right? Now we're going to get sons. No, immediately he's saying, I want to do this horse sacrifice for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. And he's asking his spiritual master, should I do this? Will it please Lord Vishnu? Right, in all situations, whether of happiness or distress, we only want to please, serve, satisfy, and please Guru and Gauranga, and that is the perfection of life, and that is the glory of a devotee's life, right? Otherwise, problems come in everybody's lives, right? What is it that we are surrendering to? That is what it is. Okay, now let me see whose hand is up. Yeah. Okay, Deval Mataji is there, and then Rajneesh Prabhu. Yes, go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Yeah, Dashrath knew that nothing could be achieved unless Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, was pleased. Although they controlled the universe, the other gods were but Vishnu's agents. Many times in the past, the king's ancestors had performed great sacrifices for satisfying the Lord and achieving their purposes. The king now considered this to be his.
Gauranga.
The king now considered, God bless you, Mataji. The king now considered this to be his only means for deliverance. He looked hopefully at Vashishta, who had been speaking with the other sages at his side. Turning towards the king, Vashishta said, "We are in agreement, O tiger among men. Let the sacrifice proceed. We shall immediately prepare a ground on the banks of the Sarayu. You will certainly get a son by this method." The assembly erupted with joyful shouts. Everywhere were cries of, "Let it be so, let the sacrifice proceed." The king, his eyes grown wide with delight, as he anticipated the fulfillment of his desire, said to Vashishta, "Let the preparations begin today. Protected by 400 of my best warriors, the sacrificial horse will roam the globe before returning for the sacrifice." After Dashrata had issued all necessary instructions, the assembly was dismissed and the king retired to his inner chambers. Together with his wives, he worshipped Vishnu and the gods, praying that his sacrifice would succeed. The whole city of Ayodhya was filled with excitement as the news of the king's sacrifice spread. In the large public squares, minstrels sang songs recounting the exploits of heroes in Dashrata's line, while troops of female dancers depicted the tales with precise and beautiful gestures. The temples became crowded with joyful people praying for the success of Dashrata's sacrifice. From the balconies of houses lining the wide avenues, wealthy people threw down gems for the Brahmins, and the jewels sparkled brightly on the clean paved roads. The city resonated with the sounds of lutes, trumpets, and kettle drums. Augmenting the music was the chanting of Brahmins reciting the holy scriptures, with flags and pennants flying, festoons hanging between the houses, and flowers strewn everywhere. Ayodhya had the appearance of a festival held by the gods in heaven. The priests of Ayodhya set about preparing for the sacrifice, selecting and consecrating a purebred horse which was free from any blemish. They released it to range freely across the country. As it traveled, it was followed and protected by 400 powerful generals from the king's army. According to the ritual, wherever the horse went, the residing rulers were called upon to attend the sacrifice and pay homage to Dashrata. Anyone refusing would be immediately challenged to a fight. If they were not subjugated, then the sacrifice could not proceed. None, however, wished the emperor any ill. The horse came back to Ayodhya without incident at the end of 1 year. Seeing the horse return, Dashrata called Vashishta. He touched his guru's feet and asked him with all humility, "O Holy One, if you deem it fit, please now commence the sacrifice. You are my dearest friend as well as my guru. Indeed, you are a highly exalted soul. Fully depending on you, I am confident of the sacrifice's outcome." After assuring the king, Vashishta spoke with the priests, instructing them to have the sacrificial arena built. Chief among them was Rishvashringa, a powerful Brahmin who had come from the kingdom of Anga. It had long ago been professed that Rishvashringa would help Dashrata obtain progeny. Along with Vashishta, he took charge of the arrangements for the sacrifice. Vashishta ordered that many white marble palaces be constructed for the monarchs who would attend. The very best food and drink was made available, and actors and dancers came to entertain the guests. Horse stables, elephant stalls, and vast dormitories to accommodate thousands of people were built. Vashishta instructed the king's ministers, everyone should have whatever they desire. Take care that no one is disrespected at any time, even under the impulse of passion or anger. Vashishta spoke to the king's charioteer and minister, Sumantra, who was especially close to Dashratha. We have invited kings from all over the globe. On behalf of the emperor, you should personally ensure that they are all properly received. Take particular care of the celebrated King Janaka, the heroic and truthful ruler of Mithila. With my inner vision, I can see that he will, in the future, become intimately related to our house. Soon many kings came to Ayodhya bearing valuable gifts of jewels, pearls, clothing, and golden ornaments. Upon the
Hare
arrival,
Krishna.
they
Thank you,
informed.
Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Pranam. Sorry.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so this is Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Natvevaham jato nasham natvam neme janadibha na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam atah param. So Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, I know the past, present, and the future. No, Arjuna, you have also appeared with me every time I have appeared, right? While I know the past, present, and future, you don't know, right? That's when, why does he tell this to Arjuna? Arjuna is telling Krishna, when Krishna told Arjuna that evam parampara praptam imam rajarasya vidusa kalineha mata yogo nashta parantapa. Right? He told that imam vivasvate yogam proktavanam avyayam vivaswan manave praha manu rikshva kave bravet. So Krishna told Arjuna that I gave this knowledge to the sun god, Surya Dev, right? But then Vivaswan, right? But then Arjuna is asking Krishna that you and I are equal, are of equal age, right? So whenever they meet, Krishna used to offer obeisances to Yudhishthira and Bhima. And then Nakula and Sahadeva used to offer obeisance to Krishna. And Arjuna and Krishna, being of the same age, they only embraced each other. They never offered obeisances to each other, right? As part of the normal custom of, how they meet. So Arjuna is asking Krishna that you are of my same age. How do I understand that you are, you instructed this imperishable science of yoga, bhakti yoga, to Vivaswan, the sun god. The sun is like existing eternally, but you and I are of the same age. And that's when Krishna is saying, Natvaevaham jato nasham, natvam neme. I know the past, the present, and the future. So here we also see that Vasishta Muni is also knowing the past, present, and future. Right? Of course, he's telling the Dashratha, he's also telling his minister Sumantra, take care of everybody. Right? Whoever comes for this particular sacrifice, they have to feel satisfied, and by their blessings, everything auspicious will happen. But he's also seeming to be knowing what is going to happen in the future. Right? Who's Janak Maharaj? He says, especially take care of Janak Maharaj. Janak Maharaj, there is going to be a close relationship that is going to develop in the future. So why? Because Lord Ram, right? Ram is not even born. And Vasishta Muni is able to foresee that when Ram is born, then they will go to King Janaka's Mithila, and there Ram will get married to Sita. And in this way, there will be a close connection. So it seems that not only the Lord knows everything, but even the spiritual masters, they know everything. And that's why they are able to guide the devotees, their disciples, in a way that will help them progress, that will evolve them to a better destination, right? Whether it is marriage, whether it is education, whether it is whatever may be, or whether it is improvement in sadhana, right? Especially a devotee should be inquiring from the spiritual master about the spiritual subject matters, right? Because tadvidi pranipadena pariprashnena sevya upadikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshan. Spiritual master's primary role, the guru means heavy, right? The primary role of a spiritual master is to tell the disciple where the disciple is going wrong, so that the disciple is able to progress in his Krishna consciousness very nicely. It is not, of course, in the earlier, this is happening in Treta Yuga, when Lord Ram is about to be born, they had such a rapport with the gurus, right? They were serving the gurus so well, and they're called Raja Rishis, because in all aspects of their life, these rishis used to guide the kings, so that there is auspiciousness in the entire world. Right? Because Yadyat Achariti Shtastas Tattat Evitrojana, right? Because Dashrath Maharaj was such a wonderful example that he served as a role model for all of the people in Ayodhya at that time. So then there was a problem for Dashrath Maharaj. Everybody, the entire kingdom wanted to come and find out, how is this problem going to be solved, because the whole of the kingdom is going to be taken care of by Dashratha and Maharaj and his lineage and his sons, right? Typically, how it is going forward. All right, let's move ahead. Who's going to read next? Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, Rajneesh Prabhu, please go ahead. Soon many kings. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Soon many
Yeah.
kings came to Ayodhya bearing valuable gifts of jewels, pearls, clothing, and golden ornaments. Upon their arrival, they in turn were offered gifts at Vishnu's command, who had instructed his assistants, give freely to all, no gift should ever be made with disrespect or irreverence, for such begrudging gifts will doubtlessly bring ruin to the giver. The royal astrologers ascertained the most favorable day for the commencement of the sacrifice. Dashath, headed by Vishishta and
Rishi Shringa.
Rishvasingha, and accompanied by his three wives, then came to the sacrificial ground, which resembled an assembly of gods. Many fires blazed, each dedicated to a different deity and attended by numerous Brahmins. The great compound was crowded with sages, absorbed in prayers and meditation. On all sides stood warriors equipped with every kind of weapon, fully alert to any danger. The king sat surrounded by Brahmins who cons- who consecrated him for the sacrifice. He and his wives made offerings into the fires and joined in chanting of prayers. After some days, after some days, Mataji, इसको
The
adjust करो
horse.
जोड़ो. Yeah.
Yeah, the horse was brought before the sacrificial fire
The horse
dedicated
was
to
this.
Vishnu.
Yeah.
Are you able to see,
ये
Prabhu?
थोड़ा इसको थोड़ा नीचे करना पड़ेगा. हाँ. Yes. After some days, the horse was brought before the sacrificial fire dedicated to Vishnu. Learned priests constantly poured into it oblations of clarified butter along with handfuls of grains. Taking the horse by the reins, Vishnu uttered a powerful mantra and the animal fell unconscious. It was immediately placed upon the fire. As the horse was consumed by the blazing fire, those with divine vision saw the soul of the creature rise from the fire, glowing brilliantly, and ascend towards heaven. After the sacrifice concluded, Dashrata was delighted. He said to the priest, according to ordinance, it is fitting that I now bestow upon you proper charity. Therefore, O holy ones, take this entire earth as a gift. This is the only appropriate offering for great souls like yourself. The priest
Hare
replied, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, maybe you can drink some water. Okay. So, so what was I saying? Yeah. So here, this is the potency of the mantra, right? They do like we offer ghee, idam Krishna, idam namama, right? It is for the pleasure of Lord Shri Krishna. I don't need anything out of the sacrifice. It's for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality. Idam na mama. It is not for me, right? But then when this sacrifice was concluded, the horse was sacrificed, right? But what happens, in those times, the sages and priests had so much of power that the sacrificed animal would immediately get a better, a human form and the least, or at least in this particular case, they are automatically ascended towards heaven. Right, a horse, which probably how many times it would have got evolved to even come to the level of a human being. So that is the power of performing a sacrifice, right? But in Kali Yuga, people simply just do it for sense gratification, and hence it is completely forbidden in this age of Kali. And especially for people who cannot give up meat eating, there is particular the Puranas that mention about, the Tamasic Puranas are there, which mention that on the day of Amavasya, you need to do these things, and then you need to sacrifice a goat or a horse or something, and probably, but even cow slaughter is cow sacrifice also is prevented, is completely not given in the Shastras, right? Cow is a mother, right? So its cow is not even an animal. So in this way, we see here that the horse sacrifice was performed for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu, and the horse also benefited, and the priest, the Vasishta Muni also, gave a new life to that particular animal. So in this way, it benefited everyone, right? It is not that somebody is being unnecessarily exploited for the purpose of somebody else's enjoyment. It does not happen like that, right? Here we see that everybody is satisfied at the end of it. Every party that is involved is kind of benefiting in some way or the other. All right, so let's end here. What is the appropriate offering for great souls like yourself? It is simply proper charity. That's why Vasishta Muni is also telling Dasharath Maharaj and all of them, Sumantra and every one of them, give charity with an open heart, right? With the desire to satisfy the other person, and by the blessings of the other person, the giver also will prosper and the receiver also will be happy, right? What is the use of that charity which is given with the kind of disgust, or with the kind of uncharitable attitude, just doing it as a matter of duty? Oh, I have to give. Oh, why do I have to give? Why is he asking me to give? I have to give. In that attitude, if we give, the giver also will not get the benefit, and the receiver also will not feel that joy in his heart, right? Because he also knows, that there is, the emotions, they come into play. So that's the reason, even Rupa Goswami mentions, Dati Pratigranati Guyam Akyati Prachati. Bungate Bojete Cheva Sadvidam Priti Lakshanam. So now the loving exchanges between devotees is also to receive gift, to accept gift, and to give gifts, to accept prasadam and give prasadam, and also to hear confidentially from a devotee, and also to inquire confidentially. So when these loving exchanges take place between devotees, the person who is giving that service of advice, or giving gift, is also benefited, and the person who is receiving the advice or the gift or the prasadam is also benefiting. In that way, both progress in Krishna consciousness, right? So the best charity is to distribute Krishna consciousness books, or to give annadhan, right? You give prasadam to all the people, and in this way help everybody progress in their Krishna consciousness. So it's not just charity is not just Simit, or it's not just limited to the body, but it also helps in the elevation of the soul. Yeah. So in that way, we can understand the importance of charity, especially for grihasthas like us. It is very, very important to perform charity according to our capacity, according to time, place, and circumstances. That will really help us grow in Krishna consciousness. So we'll quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. So I request devotees to switch on your cameras if possible. And then we'll end our study today. And tomorrow we'll meet at 5 o'clock, between 4:30 and 5 for the Brahma Murta chanting session. Namma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Satyadishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Priya Dvaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jai Jai Jagannath, Jai Baludev, Jai Subhadra. Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahima Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshama Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshama Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sitaram Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Sitaram Radhe Shyam Jaya Sitaram Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Gurudev Jai Jai Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol कलियुग विद्वान हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। So thank you Rajneesh Prabhu, Archana Shri Radha Mataji, Archana Sunil Kumar Mataji, Anusha Mataji, our Shobha Mataji, Karpagavalli Mataji, and all the devotees. Thank you for switching on your cameras. And the devotees who are not switching on your cameras also, thank you for joining in. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So tomorrow we will not have our Ramayana study because tomorrow we are shifting. All the movers and packers and all. So Mumbai to Pune. So tomorrow we will not have. Of course, we'll have our Brahma Murta chanting session in the morning. And then we will meet again on Saturday and then Sunday for Brahma Murta chanting. And then we'll meet on Monday for Brahma Murta chanting. And then followed by 11:15 a.m. we'll do Srimad Bhagavatam study. Also, see, Anusha Mataji is already ready with her 1.2.21. So Mataji will explain the verse very nicely for all of our benefit. And then we'll continue with Srimad Bhagavatam study Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll follow this routine, right? I hope from next week onwards, things should be settled down and we should be doing our study at a proper time at 11:15 a.m. Yeah, for the next 2 years, Mataji. We've taken admission for my younger daughter. So next 2 years, yes. After that, I don't know. Wherever the Lord ordains, then we move like that. All right. So thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.